From our Platinum Place studios here at Northridge in Accra. Good evening. This is News Tonight live on GHOne television, and I am Tutuwa Danso. A look at the top stories this evening. And coming up, $360 million IMF cash to his government's account today as Finance Minister brags about the economy being brought back to life.
My brother went out there to say that people should ignore Adam and go out there and buy dollars to do their business. I think that this is not healthy for our economy. We all need to work together.
But ranking member of the Finance Committee in Parliament says government has failed in handling the economy properly.
If you have to run your business and you need dollars, just go ahead and buy them. Don't be listening to Mohammed Amin.
Also in this broadcast, Pro-NPP group in the Ashanti Region protests against nomination of Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh as running mate to Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia.
He should choose a running mate who is more respectful and who has a very good reputation in the society, whom every Ghanaian can easily accept him or her.
While National Council of the governing party will meet on Thursday to discuss the nomination of Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh as running mates. Also ahead in this broadcast, Ghanaians unhappy with upward adjustment of utility tariffs. There are details of these and many other stories coming up in this broadcast. Stay with us. Thank you for choosing us this evening. Remember that across the world, we are streaming live on Facebook at GHOne Television. Let's do Insights now. On Inside this evening, we take a look at the economy as Finance Minister Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam has declared that President Akufo-Addo and government have been vindicated in their promise to bring back the economy to life. This follows the International Monetary Fund, IMF's upward adjustment of the country's projected 2024 economic growth from 2.3% to 3.1%. Ghana's economy grew by 4.7% in the first quarter of 2024, the highest in 2 years.
Speaking at a joint press conference following an executive approval of the $360 million third tranche under the IMF program, Ghana Mission Chief Stefan disclosed Ghana's strong performance of indicators compelled the fund to adjust the expected growth target upwards.
All of these efforts are yielding positive results. Signs of economic stabilization are emerging. For example, economic growth has proven more resilient than initially envisaged. Therefore, we are revising our growth projection up from 2.8 to 3.1% for 2024. Inflation is declining rapidly, from 54% in December 2022 to 23% in May 2024. And Ghana's international reserves have been increasing.
Finance Minister Dr. Mohamed Amin, on his part, described the recent economic indicators as one that vindicates earlier assertions by the president that the government will bring the economy back to life.
Many countries, as of today, have not recovered. Some advanced countries are still in recession. And if you recall, our president said at the time that we know how to bring the economy back, but we do not know how to bring lives back. If you look at the economy of Ghana at the time and today, you compare it with what is happening today, our president has been vindicated because the economy has come around, the economy has come back.
The finance minister also took a swipe at ranking member of Parliament's Finance Committee, Isaac Adongo, accusing him of inciting speculation. The MP for Gatanga Central last week had urged business owners to buy dollars if they needed.
Please, if you have to run your business and you need dollars, just go ahead and buy them. Don't be listening to Mohammed Amin, who said that you should watch the dollar the next day. We watched the dollar several months ago when you got 1.2 billion and it is rising. Do you get it? Don't lose out when you need money to run your business. Of course, I discourage people from speculatively buying the dollar when they don't need it. But if you need it for your business, by all means, go ahead and do it. Don't listen to him.
But in a direct response, Dr. Amin says the actions of Mr. Adongo are not healthy for the economy.
We have had intelligence that people have been deliberately inciting speculation, but we never got it too real as we saw only 2 or 3 days ago, when my good friend and my brother, the Honorable Adongo, went out there urging people to buy dollars to do their business. My brother went out there to say that people should ignore Amin Adam and go out there and buy dollars to do their business. I think that this is not healthy for our economy. We all need to work together, whether we are with the government or we are with the minority, because we are all stakeholders in this economy.
The minister assures the IMF will credit the accounts of the Bank of Ghana with the $360 million by close of day, July 1, 2024.
Let's now have a conversation on the back of this development, and we've been joined by Professor Patrick Esumin, who is an economist with the University of Ghana Business School. Prof, thank you so much for your time this evening.
Good evening, and good evening to viewers.
Absolutely. Now, the government says it has been vindicated and the economy has been brought back to life. Do you agree with this?
Well, I don't know what it means to say the economy has been brought back to life. Clearly, when such statements are made, it's based on some stability that we've seen in the macroeconomic environment. And in the press conference, a lot was made of the fact that the growth for the first quarter of this year was way higher than expected. But I think when we talk about improvement in the economy, shouldn't be limiting it to what's happening to inflation, what is happening to broad growth or the currency. What has happened to ordinary people's life? And I think you've been following other reports like the multidimensional poverty that has been released by the Ghana Statistical Service. We've seen our trade reports. We've seen other things that suggest that perhaps things are not as rosy. So, yes, there's been some stability in the macroeconomic environment, but it's too much of a stretch to say, the lives of ordinary Ghanaian people are improving. I think we are completely far from that.
Right.
Even the macroeconomic indicators, I think it's not as strong as we think it should be.
Right. But despite all these concerns that you have raised, the IMF's chief mission officer says that our economy has grown upwards. What does that mean for us as a country?
Well, when Mr. Stefan Rode speaks, he says that it's more robust than we expected. It doesn't mean that the economy is growing stronger than before. If you recall, even 2022, that we thought was such a terrible year, the growth rate of last year was lower than 2022. So, yes, they projected that the economy will grow very slowly, and the economy outperformed their projection. It doesn't mean the economy has performed better than the previous year. So I think all of those have to be put in the proper context. Of course, it's in the interest of the IMF to paint a good picture, because obviously they are the ones who are supporting the program. So it's in their interest to see that the program is doing well. But I think we have to put all of those numbers in proper context.
Right. But now the biggest conversation has to do with the depreciation of our currency, that is the cedi. The finance minister says that we should, abort hoarding the cedi. But the ranking member of the finance committee says that, we should just buy dollars and hoard them and use them for our transactions. How do we marry these two opposing views?
Well, first of all, what I heard the minority MP say was not necessarily to $4. In fact, if you listen to what the finance minister says, he's saying businesses who need dollars for their business should go ahead and buy the dollars. So frankly, I'm not sure what the criticism of what the MT said is.
I mean, don't you think that it will further destabilize our city? It will further weaken our city?
I mean, my sense is that people who buy the dollar as a store of value, they are rational people. They don't need someone to tell them that you should buy dollar or hold dollar. If they buy and hold dollar at the wrong time, they are going to be the loser. And when it comes to speculation, speculation doesn't come from empty space. It comes from people losing confidence in the city and betting that the city will keep losing. So if you want to address the speculation, what we should address is building a stronger country and a stronger economy that supports the currency. So for me, that's what we should be looking at. Of course, it's not great when everybody is talking negatively about the economy. But if things are good, I don't think you need someone to convince any businessman that things are good, including for the dollar.
Right, let's talk about building the economy. And there are concerns that delaying debt payments as instructed by the IMF might lead to the government spending recklessly. What do you think that in the long term we should do to prevent this?
We just need to tighten the expenditure controls. There are too many weaknesses in our expenditure control system. At the beginning of the program, the IMF had indicated, even when government had promised that they are going to rein in and cut discretionary expenditure, they couldn't do it because of extra budgetary spending. Now we are told that they have to put everything into the gift mix. So there's that part. But ultimately, I think it demands on Ghanaians to be vigilant and also to be watchful so that the government doesn't spend money it doesn't have. Because what has happened is that after all the excessive spending, what has happened is that Ghanaian businesses and households who bought the biggest brunt of it, after all, we have to endure the worst of the domestic debt exchange. So Ghanaians should also take keen interest and scrutinize and hold government more accountable. The IMF, they only come around periodically when you have to report the numbers to them. If by that time we have overspent, we've already overspent. There's not much that we can do.
Right. Now, finally, the country has also received $360 million in the third tranche. Looking at the first two tranches, do you think that we have judiciously spent the monies received?
It's difficult to trace how we have spent that money. Don't forget that all these payments have been budgetary support. So it means the budget shortfall that we had, the IMF money has been brought to plug in the hole. And when money goes into the pool like that, it's very difficult to trace exactly where it has been spent. But what we know is that there are inefficiencies in government expenditure generally. So, there are many cases where government's money that we don't get value for. Value for money analysis has been very weak. So it shouldn't be just IMF money. We have to ensure that there's efficiency in terms of public expenditure, that we cut the waste and the corruption in the public sector.
Right.
And that should not be just IMF money. It should be the entire budgetary system.
Right. Thank you so much, Prof. Professor Patrick Esumin is a professor with the University of Ghana Business School. And that wraps up Insights for tonight. Insight was proudly in association with Pepsodent. And with Pepsodent, every smile matters.
Insight was brought to you by Pepsodent Herbal for strong teeth and gums and Pepsodent Charcoal for natural whiter teeth.
Let's still place focus on the economy and starting a new month with a fresh burden of paying more for power and electricity is not something any human will be happy about. But Ghanaians woke up to the additional cost of the expenditure as the utility service providers have started implementing new tariffs announced by the Public Utilities Regulatory Authority in May 2024. Now, the new tariffs announced will see Ghanaians pay 5.84% and 4.94% for residential and commercial consumers of electricity, respectively. But this is not welcome news for consumers. Awusidede Jangim has the details.
The cost of electricity is up by 5.8% and water by 5.1% on 1st July 2024, following a tariff adjustment approved by the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission for residential users. Announcing the increment on May 31, 2024, the PURC attributed the increment to several factors, including the cedi depreciation, inflation, cost of fuel, among others. For lifeline consumers of water, they will see a 3.45% increase and a 5.84% upward adjustment for all other residential users. The PURC, in a statement, also revealed that the reviews were undertaken in line with the Commission's quarterly tariff review mechanism. The Commission also argues that it also considered the competitiveness of industries and the general living conditions of Ghanaians in arriving at this upward review. The increment is, however, not welcome by these consumers who spoke to GHOne News.
And I'm when I light so. But this is by on show my on titin yamasu because I know behind a bet manyaska at me that maybe 100 cedis and that's 1.5. I know behind a bet mania and I'll mind somewhere D. There is on show no man my embra from so that Obia maybe Kakrebi will be so wet mania, I bet man to be and for misunderstanding if I chrono ember country no more and
honestly I'm not too sure, but I think if they can, they should reduce. If they can't, they should just maintain how it is now, because we are already in it, or we are already in the high tariffs now. If they can maintain it, then it's fine. If they can reduce it, it will help a lot, because a lot of businesses depend on these basic amenities that they are increasing. So I think
The 2024 doctoral graduates of Nobel International Business School have been called upon to harness the transformative power of artificial intelligence in applying the knowledge they have acquired with the aim of mitigating present social issues and fostering economic growth. As distinguished leaders in their respective fields, the majority of whom are industry captains, they have been equipped to bridge the academia-industry gap, generating employment opportunities for the vast number of Ghanaian youth through rigorous research and innovative solutions. There are more details in this report.
Established in 2014, Nobel International Business School, renowned as one of the foremost doctoral institutions on the continent, has consistently produced distinguished business leaders through its programs, tailored to address diverse industry challenges with a strong emphasis on pragmatic and solution-focused approaches. Delivering a keynote address at the 2024 graduation ceremony in Accra, CEO of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, Reginald Yofi Grant, underscored the importance of fully integrating artificial intelligence to industrial growth and challenged the graduates to leverage this powerful technology in their respective fields.
Physical, the artificial, and the biological spheres because of artificial intelligence, where you can actually reconstruct human activities using what they say the I's and the O's. I mean, it's just computer simulations, and you're actually simulating human responses, human questioning, and even today, research is showing that artificial intelligence is actually creating responses that you'd expect normally human beings to respond. But the fact that you can bring much more efficiency to life is a great opportunity. And like I said, there are great opportunities that we all can leverage with artificial intelligence.
Speaking on the sidelines of the ceremony, the founder of the Nobel International Business School, Professor Kweku Etuahene Jima, indicated the institution is focused on equipping students with practical knowledge to address the skills gap between industry and academia.
I identified a big gap in the traditional education space. And the gaps are the following. One, typically executives never go to do a doctorate because the nature of the traditional system does not suit them. For example, they can't quit their job. They have big families. They have a lot of constraints of work. But one thing that is very kind of describe executives is that they always want to do something that leaves a legacy. So we thought that, how do we develop a new educational model that will allow these people to work and at the same time achieve the ultimate goal?
On his part, Dr. Elton Frederick Afari, one of the newly graduates, stressed that artificial intelligence will be harnessed to show insurance penetration in the country through introduction of innovative products.
The insurance penetration in Ghana is very low. A lot of awareness has been done over the years to get people to understand the need of insurance. But in the current landscape where AI is trending and has been part of us, we need to embrace it as people and as an industry. For us at Equity Health Insurance, and specifically to the whole insurance fraternity, we have put in place processes to be able to enhance our businesses and how we'll be able to penetrate through the market and also get our prospective clients to understand the need of insurance by using AI. AI has come to stay.
However, a total of 52 students graduated with doctoral degrees during the first session, which was on the theme, Thriving Under Emerging Economic Opportunities, the Role of Artificial Intelligence.
Well, news coming in indicates that the Ghana Plastic Manufacturers Association, in collaboration with its partners, that is, the National Association of Sachet and Packaged Water Producers and the Plastic Sellers Association of Ghana, are going to be embarking on a demonstration on Wednesday, July 10, 2024, over the 5% excise tax on all locally manufactured plastic products at the Obra Sports Stadium at Obra Sports at Circle. We'll bring you more details of this development as and when that unfolds, but that is how we wrap up on the Business Brief. You're welcome back from the break. This is still news tonight here on GHOne Television. Let's head to the Northern Region now as the Assembly member for Kakpa-Yele, a suburb of Tamale, Hafiz Andani, is questioning why the police granted bail to the main suspects in the alleged murder of 2 children in the Northern Regional capital. 2 children were found dead at Kakpa-Yele, and the residents suspect they were murdered for ritual purposes as their decomposed bodies were abandoned in a vehicle behind one Alhaji Abdul Rahman Madahe's house. According to the assemblyman for the Kakpa-Yele electoral area, Hafiz Andani, the 2 children, both aged 3, went missing last Saturday. A search was conducted for the boys, but after 2 days of not finding them, an official complaint was made to the police. The decomposing bodies were those of minors whose parents reported them missing 2 weeks ago. The main suspect, Alhaji Madaha, who was arrested by the police in connection with the alleged murder, is said to have been released, and this according to reports angered the residents. The angry youth have since set the suspect's house ablaze, demanding action from authorities. He has been speaking to my colleague, Noah Nash.
We went to the DOFSU, reported the case to the DOFSU units. Because of their age, they are 3 years. We could not do it with the normal procedures. We have to go through DOFSU. We reported this case. We kept on searching until this very Saturday, 29th of June, when one of the kids, who is a twin, his twin brother, told us that they left his brother with Ajia. So we're making inquiries, who is Ajia? We didn't know who Ajia is. He led us to this house. Ajia, who is a wife to Alhaji Madaha. So we quickly moved in, since he was now a key suspect. Since the child, the twin, was able to identify this house, we invited him to the chief palace. He followed us to that place. We asked of the whereabouts of his wife. He called his wife. The chief made some few questions to them, which they deny of having knowledge of the kids. Then, all of a sudden, a young man invaded the palace with a pistol, loaded with 5 bullets. Fully armed. The youth were able to disarm him, took over the weapon, handed it over to me. I quickly called in the police. The police came in, I gave them the narration. I handed over Alhaji Mada with his wife, together with the third person who came with a gun, to the police. That was on 29th of June. The police took them to the station. They took their statements. Out of a bizarre situation, I don't know what happened. The suspect has been granted bail.
Wow.
Yes, they are walking freely. Walking freely. And the sad side of the situation is that the complainant who came and lodged the complaint of his 2 missing kids is rather in the police custody.
Right now?
Currently, it's with them. Since from 29, today is 1st June. He's still with the police.
Okay. What reasons were assigned by the police for detaining him? Okay.
I can't tell. This question should be directed to the police. They will be in the best position to answer this. They will be the best to answer that.
So what led to the demolition of this area and the fires?
No, I wouldn't use the word demolition. The house was gutted with fire. As to the cause of the fire, I can't tell.
That's a very worrying development there. But let's have a conversation on the back of it. And Sani Adib is a security analyst and he's joined us for more on this development. Adib, thank you so much for your time this evening.
Thank you for having me.
Great. I'm sure you've been following this development in Tamale. From where you sit, how should this be handled by the police?
The police would have to exercise a great deal of circumspection because passions are high. People are angry about what's going on. I've spoken with quite a number of people. You know, I come from Tamale. It is my hometown, and I have a lot of contacts. And they are suspecting Malam Badaha of being behind the killings, even though I've not had an iota of evidence from anyone pointing to the fact that really he is behind it. I've spoken with some people who told me that the children went to his house to play and then they got lost. Then days after, their remains was found in a vehicle. So based on the circumstantial scheme of things, he might have, killed them. But what I also find unfortunate is the burning of his house. The gentleman you spoke with, Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Wonderful. So the gentleman knows full well what caused the burning of it. I mean, from my sources, it was deliberately set on fire by the angry youth. And by so doing, they've actually helped him. Because, and I speak as a criminologist, I mean, so usually criminals, when after perpetrating the crime, they burn the crime scene or burn the victim to cover their acts. So by burning the building, because you've succeeded in covering up the evidence for him, and I think it's unfortunate. He should have simply been handed over to the police, and the police would conduct their investigation. And there's a lot they could have found in the house that would have linked him perhaps to the killing of these boys. But as it stands, I don't think there's real actionable evidence that points to the fact that he has done it or perhaps otherwise.
So you don't think the fact that the decomposing bodies of the bodies being found behind his house is indicative enough to point him to the crime?
Well, of course, there's no perfect crime, all right? There are so many ways the investigation can go, I mean, and so many tools and strategies. The vehicle, who does it belong to? Are there fingerprints that would link the Malam to what might have been found in the car? Are there DNA evidence in the vehicle? You can use cell tower information because as we move with our phones, it pings to every cell tower we come across. I mean, there are so many ways we can do this. Unfortunately, investigation is just too porous in Ghana. We still rely on the analog, traditional way of doing things. Meanwhile, the world has come far. I mean, the use of digital forensics and all that. Unfortunately, many people are left off the hook because of the porosity of investigation in Ghana. But I think a bulk of the evidence could have been found at his residence. But by burning the house, we have just helped him perhaps escape justice. And also, I think it is important for people to understand, based on the Martin Kibu case, that I think every offense is bailable. Okay, a lot goes into the investigation, but if you make the passions supersede the evidence, then it begins to create problems as it has the tendency of making you overly expectant. And I think that is what is making people angry and resort to violence in the quest for justice.
Right.
Not too long ago, some individuals who were allegedly caught for selling drugs in the area were acquitted by the court. It became very violent, and the police even, threw tear gas and all that. So the name of the game is evidence, and it can't do anything about it.
Right. But given all these instances and the fact that you are also from there, how can security be beefed up, especially because now Tamale is a cosmopolitan area?
Well, I think, first of all, there's the need for deeper collaboration between the people, especially their leadership, the chiefs, the elders, and the Ghana Police Service. I mean, if you speak with people on the ground, you would realize that they don't seem to have so much confidence in the police's ability to ensure justice. So by building that confidence, I'm sure people would learn to understand that we have laws. We are not a banana republic. And even though you can citizen arrest, still you would have to hand the person over to the police. If not, we might see a rise in lynchings. And who knows, innocent persons might be caught up in the melee. So we need to really address this more carefully. And lately, we are seeing quite a number of insecurity situations coming out from the north. I mean, not too long ago, we saw the ritual killings in Bali. Then we saw the return of the ritual killers in Wa, who had done so some years back. And now we're seeing children also getting killed in Tamale. So it is really a major issue. And I'm hoping that not just the police, but the internal intelligence agencies would rise up to the occasion. Then we get to know what really is behind what's going on right now.
Right. Adib, thank you so much for your time. He's a security analyst. Now, away from security-related matters, let's focus on elections because we are your election hub. And the flag bearer of the governing New Patriotic Party, Dr. Bawumia, has formally informed national officers of the party of his nomination of Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, NAPO, as his running mate in the upcoming 2024 general election. The meeting, which occurred at the NPP's headquarters in Asylum Down, follows an earlier presentation of Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh's nomination to the majority caucus in Parliament. The nomination, however, awaits the decision of the National Council, which is the final approving organ of the New Patriotic Party. Now, a pro-NPP group in the Ashanti Region, that is the Patriotic Movement for Bawumia, has petitioned against the nomination of Energy Minister Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh as running mate to the flag bearer. According to the group, the Menchia South Member of Parliament does not have what it takes to facilitate the party's victory in the 2024 elections.
The group, who protested at the regional campaign office of the flag bearer, described the choice of Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh as a bad one. They described the Menchia South lawmaker as arrogant and someone who does not have the trust of academia and other floating voters. Ebenezer Nyamiche speaks for the group.
And I know that the Vice President is a true Muslim, so as we need a true Christian to also work with him, so that at the end of the day we get balance of religion in our country. Another one that we are also suggesting to His Excellency, the Vice President, is that he should choose a running mate who is more respectful and who has a very good reputation in the society, whom every Ghanaian can easily accept him or her. That is the reason why we are humbly pleading to His Excellency Dr. Matthew Bawumia. He should reconsider his decision once again and choose a running mate whom the Ghanaian people will truly accept him.
Ashanti Regional Communications Director of the party, Paul Kwabena, who received the petition, assured the group that it would be sent to the appropriate office.
Now, the Electoral Commission has agreed to transfer votes for students on the 25 university campuses, prison inmates and security personnel from July 3 to July 5, 2024. Additionally, the Elections Management Body extended the application for the special voting exercise for media personnel and security personnel who will be playing an active role on election day to July 6 and July 7, 2024. These new arrangements were agreed at an IPAC meeting following concerns raised by various stakeholders and the low turnout for the application of the special voting exercise. Haruna Mohammed is the Deputy General Secretary of the NPP, and he spoke to the media after the meeting.
Some dates were set by the Electoral Commission for the conduct of transfer for key three bodies. One is students from the 25 campuses, 2 security personnel, and 3 prison inmates. This date was set for the 3rd to the 5th of this particular month, that is July, for this particular exercise to be done. There was another date that was set for proxy, and this was relative only to the security agencies. And the reason being that some of these security agencies have had the opportunity to go out for peacekeeping missions and other assignments that borders on national security issues that they needed to make sure that this window is open for them. Then the third one was relative to this particular special voter list, which has been made available because of the transfer that has been given to the security and what have you, for them to be able to complete the exercise, which is currently ongoing, that they want to complete it by to the 7th, so that security agencies will be able to do this particular exercise.
Meanwhile, the opposition NDC has petitioned Parliament to investigate circumstances surrounding some missing biometric verification devices. Dr. Edward Omane-Boamah is the Director of Elections and IT for the opposition NDC.
Obviously, per the minutes that we looked at, and the minutes is right here, they said they were going to consult their lawyers so that the aspects that are not in court, they will answer them. Unfortunately, they came today, and once again, excuses upon excuses. But I must say that the General Secretary has written to Parliament, to the Speaker of Parliament, copy the Minority Leader, for Parliament to investigate the stolen biometric voter registration kits. We expect that a Parliament will take the matter seriously and act on it, whilst the EC continues to drag its feet, because it's very clear at this stage that the EC is stonewalling.
Now, while agreeing with the various arrangements at the IPAC meeting, Dr. Edward Omane-Boamah cautioned the Electoral Commission to guard against gerrymandering during the new transfer process and urged them to ensure the electoral calendar is not distorted.
Clear about insisting on the people who are qualified to engage in this transfer. It applies to students and only students. At this stage, because of their own omissions, for instance, prior engagement with the security agencies, for them to have transferred during the period of the transfer, if they had done that, it is true that public education on that from the EC was very, very low. I can't fault the security personnel. I can't fault them. So because of their own omissions, they are having to squeeze some of these emergencies in there. We want them to just readjust the calendar so that within the next 1 week, we will all be clear about the calendar of activities that we are following up to December 7. As we emphasized, we do not want any stampeding in October. No.
Now, the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Kingsford Sumana Bagbin, says he is committed to ensuring that the 2024 elections are conducted in a free and fair manner to avoid chaos in the country. According to him, the country is at a crossroad and heating, which could potentially lead to the peace and security being threatened if the elections are not conducted transparently.
Speaking at a press soiree in Kumasi, the Speaker of Parliament said the lawmaking House, the Chief Justice, and the Asante Region have all committed to ensuring that the December polls are transparent. According to him, a bipartisan committee will be set up to check the activities of the Electoral Commission.
What we are facing today up to 7th December 2024, the elections, is a very serious situation. And Ghanaians, I plead with all of you, we have to change our attitude. We either break the mold in this election or we lose everything. The 2024 election is a very serious election. And I want all of you to be up to the game. The place, as usual, is heating up. We don't want to experience any violence. We want to have a free, fair, transparent, and credible elections.
Mr. Bagbin indicated that Ghana is not far from what is happening in Kenya, hence appropriate measures should be taken to guide the work of the Electoral Commission.
You're still watching News Tonight here on GHOne Television, and up next is Sports with my colleague Benjamin Yamwa. Bengazi, good evening. I know that the French boys returned to their hotels smiling. What happened?
Absolutely, because they gunned down the Belgian side in the knockout stage of the ongoing Euros. It ended 1-0 for the French team, so they've progressed. Whereas Belgium, Kevin De Bruyne and all the stars are heading back home to Belgium. I've got news on that, plus some boxing news all coming up in sports after this. And you welcome on to sport. And the highly anticipated National Super Middleweight Championship bout between Elvis Ahoga, also known as Soja Boxer, and Ernest Akuche, a.k.a. Baobali, ended in a no contest during round 6. Now, the experienced SWAC boxing referee of the year, Roger Bano, called a temporary halt midway through the round after noticing a defect in Baobali's gloves, leading to confusion in the arena.
Baobali made a dramatic entrance, entering the ring through an unapproved gate led by a fetish priestess carrying a pot with fire burning. Despite his grand entrance, Baobali struggled in the ring, throwing wild punches while receiving effective jabs and punches from the soldier boxer. Ahoga, though not as sharp as in previous bouts, was leading and dictating the pace of the fight round after round. Midway through round 6, referee Roger Bana noticed a defect in Baobali's gloves and called for a closer inspection. He invited ringside official Alhaji Murtala Tofik to assess the situation. They both agreed that Baobali's gloves needed to be replaced. A new pair of black gloves was quickly brought in, and Baobali was taken to his corner to change gloves. This caused murmurs and confusion among spectators who were unsure about the reason for the temporary halts. Amidst the confusion, the head trainer of the soldier boxer jumped into the ring in protest. His actions sparked further chaos, leading to the throwing of missiles into the ring by the crowd. Security forces intervened to control the situation, but the unrest continued, forcing patrons and ring officials to seek refuge. For nearly 30 minutes, security personnel protected the two boxers. The previously packed Bukom boxing arena quickly emptied, leaving the boxers with no choice but to vacate the ring in disappointment. At the point of the stoppage, many spectators and journalists had Ahoga, the soldier boxer, leading on points against Baobali. According to the rules of boxing, referee Roger Bano made the right call and appeared to have followed the correct procedure. However, a section of the public sought to blame the soldier boxer's head coach for the near mayhem. But can anyone see the true evil behind the veil?
And that is how we wrap up on this edition of News Tonight. The next news broadcast is at 6 a.m. tomorrow. Thank you so much for your time. For more news updates, log on to starfm.com.gh. I am Tutua Danso.